Now, the NBA was a different scenario. Okay, the NBA, I wasn't part of a family anymore. The NBA, the average age of my team when I played for Chicago Bulls was 22, 23 years old. And I got lost. You talk about that plan that I had set up to develop, I got lost. I started spending a little bit of my money. Okay, I started hanging out with the wrong people again because I was lonely. And then guess what? One day at the end of my NBA career, after my first year in the NBA, I got a motorcycle. You know why? Because I was young, I was arrogant, and I thought I had the world in the palm of my hands. Now, I know you guys hear some of these stories and you think, how is this story applicable to me? You know, obviously, I don't know if I get a chance to play basketball in the NBA, but we've all been in situations before where one decision can change the outcome of your life. One decision can change the outcome of your life. So I got a bike because I was arrogant. And you know what? I wanted to do something in my free time just to have fun. Now, I started riding along, never took a motorcycle riding class, never got my license because I felt like I didn't need to, right? So one day I was riding about a block away from my house. I was on my bike. There was a billboard of me, downtown Chicago, right? And I'm thinking about, oh my God, I made it. Like, I made it, I am here. I am about to not only just achieve my dream, but I'm about to grab my dream and run away with it. As I'm coming to a stop sign, I click the bike into neutral. Now, just like a car, right? When the car's in neutral, if you drive stick, you can rev on the engine all you want. The car's not gonna go anywhere, right? It's gonna stay going as fast as it was before. So as I'm coming to a stop sign, the bike's in neutral. I rev the engine the first time. Vroom, 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 goes up, right? Just got a new exhaust. Didn't have a helmet on, didn't have a protective jacket on either, right? Very arrogant at 21 years old. Coming to the stop sign, rev it the first time. The muffler makes a sound, literally blast, right? People are looking at me. Who's on the bike? All for my own ego, all right? Second time I rev it louder than the first time. Vroom, 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 vroom. Everybody stops. You know how it is when somebody revs their engine on a bike when they pass you in a car. You naturally look over to see who they are, what it is. In the middle of my third rev, the bike slipped gears. Now, who in here knows what it means that when a bike or a car slips gears? It means that in the middle of my rev, my bike hit second gear, which means it slipped down into second gear, which means I went from going 30 miles an hour, cruising, in cruise control pretty much, about to come to a stop sign, to going 75 miles an hour in a heartbeat. So imagine that, you're on a bike, you're cruising, you're revving it, you're not thinking the bike's gonna go anywhere, all of a sudden the bike pops up. I'm doing a wheelie, going 70 miles per hour. Now, you hear this line in life about let go, let God. I wish I would have at the time, but at that time in my life, I wanted to control everything in my life. I wanted to control how much money I made. I wanted to control who was on my team, what we were doing business-wise, where we were going. My ego was out of control, so I grabbed onto the motorcycle. Now, when I grabbed onto the motorcycle, I was so worried about falling backwards on the motorcycle that I leaned forward to try to wrestle the bike down to the ground. Now, when I leaned forward, I throttled back the throttle even more. So now I'm going around 85 miles per hour. That fast, all in a matter of seconds. I'm running the stop sign. As I look, there's a truck coming from my right to my left. In order for the truck not to hit me, I had to speed up even more. So I pulled down on the throttle even more. So now I'm going 85, maybe 90 miles per hour. As I look down at the speedometer, the truck comes, it barely misses the back part of my tire. Now, think about that moment, right? We all have these moments where you make that dumb decision, and if you're lucky enough to get out of that dumb decision, it's easy to look back on it and say, wow, my life could have been different if A went wrong, or if B went wrong, or if C went wrong. So at that given time, right, I'm thinking about, oh my God, I'm about to get out of this whole thing. Like, I'm never gonna ride again. I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna change my ways. I promise you, I'm not gonna be arrogant. I'm literally praying to God in my own mind as I see this truck barely miss the back tire of my wheel. As I'm speeding by and I'm saying that little prayer in my mind, when I look up, I'm going directly into a utility pole. I tried to turn the bike at the last second to the right, but I couldn't turn it quick enough. Smack into a utility pole going 90 miles per hour. Smack into a utility pole going 90 miles per hour. The impact swung me off the bike that my body was swinging parallel to the pavement. Parallel. One of those moments where you have a dream and you're like, I swear I've lived this before, I've been here before, I've seen this before. And when I hit the ground, my impact was immediate. Now, when I hit the ground, my chest was up on the grassy knoll area between the street and the pavement, okay? My chest is laying on the grassy knoll area. My hips are on the pavement, but my hips are on the curb, excuse me, but my legs are on the pavement as if I'm laying on my side, so my body is contorted, okay? The first thing I started screaming out was that I threw it all away, I threw it all away, I threw it all away at the top of my lungs. Now, my agent happened to be there at the time, because he was right around the same time we were having a meeting, he was in that area. And he came over to me, and his mouth literally dropped to the floor as he called 911. As he called 911, the ambulance came, and the first thing I started asking him, I feel like I'm bleeding, but I kept touching myself, and there was no blood on my hands. But I felt like I was bleeding. And one of the ambulance guys said, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. They were trying to keep me calm. We think you just have broken a couple of bones. But I knew that I did a lot more than that. When they picked me up and they turned my chest over so my body can be straight, my body clicked about 6 or 7 times. 6 or 7 times, imagine that. My hips and my pelvis and my legs clicked as if bones on a chicken bone were being grinded together. 6 or 7 times. I got in the ambulance. I was still coherent enough to make a phone call to my mom and dad saying, I think you need to come to Chicago because I've been involved in a really bad accident. You need to get here. Now look, I was always a reckless little boy when I was younger. Like I told you before, I've been in a lot of fights. I was jumped when I was younger. I was always a kid that tried to jump over the creek and end up breaking his ankle, or the kid that said, hey look, let me climb up this tree and prove to you that I can climb the highest and fall down and break my arm. I've broken a lot of bones, okay? So I know the protocol when you break a bone. You go into the hospital, you go in to see the doctor comes, he looks at your leg, he looks at your elbow, he looks at your shoulder and says, okay, we might have to readjust it, we have to pop it back in, and then we're gonna put you in a cast. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen when I go into the hospital. When I go into the hospital, there's one doctor who runs up to me and is asking me for my parents' phone number and said to me that you're bleeding internally. We need to do surgery now, or we don't know if you're going to make it. I get gurneyed into a hospital room and I have surgery for 7.5 hours. I pass out. My life could have been done. I wake up a day later with 3 metal rods inserted into my bone on my left leg, holding my leg up in the air, hovering over me. I have 2 metal rods inserted into my pelvis because I smashed my pelvis into over 10 different pieces. Now, when you wake up in something like that, you think it's surreal. You think you're in a dream. You don't think you're in reality. I don't think I'm so lucky that I didn't hit my head. I'm so lucky that I'm not dead. I automatically was so angry at myself. Right now, so I went from being the second pick taken in the draft to being the savior for a city like Chicago, to taking Michael Jordan's locker back in the locker room, to having a triple-double my rookie year, people talking about how great I was going to be, to seeing myself on a billboard, to all of a sudden maybe never being able to walk again. So I'll give you a matter of perspective. There are a couple people that I've known, without saying names, that have made over $250 million in their careers. It's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. They're bankrupt today. Now, people say, how could they be bankrupt? They made $250 million. So I'll give you a prime example. It's called the Michael Jordan fact, okay? So, say right now you're making $600 a week, okay? Who in here has a pair of Jordans on? Okay, great. My man in the back with the U sweater on. How much do Jordans cost? $150, $200. Okay, great. So I see this all the time, right? You make $600 a week. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna get myself a pair of Jordans. Easy, right? $200. You still got $300 left in the bank. So imagine that you do your job and you say, you know what? I can make $1,000 a week now. So I'm just telling you how it goes. It's very easy to lose track of how you spend your money, right? Oh, I make $1,000 now. So now all of a sudden you look at those Jordans, right? Like, you know what? I can get myself 2 pairs of Jordans. I can treat myself today, right? I'm gonna get 2 pairs. I'm gonna get the new one that just came out. I'm gonna get the old school pair. So I'm gonna spend $500 on Jordans, right? You get 2 pair now for $500. Now you say $500, but you keep living your life that way, it's easy to lose track of your money. So for all you guys, as you guys are going through work, right? It's about preparing for the long game. When I say long game, every single day, I know I got lucky and I was able to play. But I've met a lot of people who didn't play professional sports who built wealth a lot bigger than mine. And one of the best lines I've heard is that we're all equal, right? We all have the same places. I used to be really angry when I was younger. I was like, you know what? I'm not as good as that person. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make as money as that person. And one of the best lines I heard was from a guy named Jimmy V, where he said, every single day, ordinary people do extraordinary things. Every single day, ordinary people do extraordinary things. One of my really good friends who owns a hedge fund now worked for minimum wage for 15 years of his life. 15 years of his life worked minimum wage from the time he was 18. Okay? Every single day. You talk about discipline. I know you guys don't want to hear this, but you have to think of a plan, right? There's a great book that is out, and it talks about putting out into the world what you want to occur. So for all you guys in here want to do something great financially. Are you putting that out there to the world? Are you talking about what you're going to achieve? Are you talking about how you are going to achieve it? So that one friend who worked for minimum wage for 15 years kept stacking away money, kept stacking away money, kept stacking away money. It wasn't a lot of money, but every single month he would put money to the side, he would put money to the side. Until after 15 years, he had a good lump sum of money, and he made the right investment, and he flipped this money. And then he started to use that investment and bought a house. Bought a property that wasn't doing too well, bought a house for a certain amount of money, used the rest of the money to kind of reboot the house, right, to revamp the house. He sold the house. He doubled his money again. He kept building to the point where today he has over $1 billion fund. He has $1 billion fund. A man who made minimum wage for 15 years has $1 billion fund. And when I talk to him, the thing he always says to me is, nobody gave it to me. Nobody gave it to me. Each and every day, when I saw my friends go to the club and spend $1,000 on a bottle of Ace of Spades because they wanted to flaunt, they wanted to have a good time, or I saw, my homegirls buy a pair of red bottom shoes because they finally saved up enough money to buy that one pair of shoes, while they were spending their money for the instant gratification, I was saving my money because I wanted to win and be successful in the end, in the long run. And now he looks back on those same people, and those are the same people who are still in the corner. I still have the same people in my life who are still in the corner from the day I was on the corner with them when I was 13 years old, still doing the same thing, complaining about how the system is punishing them. And I said, no, man, the system isn't punishing you. You're punishing yourself because there's no plan. There's no discipline. So for all you guys to get where you need to be, trust me, start with a plan. My life didn't work out the way I thought it was, okay? I thought I was lucky enough to get drafted. I thought I was going to be like the next Derrick Rose before Derrick Rose happened. And I got hurt very badly in a motorcycle accident that I had to live with, okay? I went through years and years of depression. I went through 2 bouts of suicide attempts where I was unsuccessful. But I was lucky enough to have a board. I was lucky enough to have people around me who kept reminding me, you're better than this. This is where you need to go. This is how you need to get there. Now, some of you guys may be laughing. Some of you guys may be joking around right now while I'm talking. But you know what? The people who aren't joking around, the people who aren't laughing, the people who are actually listening to me, you will come back to this school in 20 years. I'm about to be 20 years out of high school. I graduated in 1999. And you know, when I go back to my school, I went back to my school for the 10-year reunion, and all those cool people who were in the auditorium, laughing, not paying attention, joking around on their phone, going to sleep, they're still doing the same old thing. And they're saying, Jay, how'd you do it? So I know how I did it. And it wasn't by joking around. It was because I took my stuff seriously. Those same people are still in the corner, doing the same thing. So my challenge to all of you guys is, I dare you all to be different. I dare all of you to be different. And I don't want any of you to use an excuse because, oh, I'm from this area, or I had a bad hand being dealt to me. Your hand is all about how you play it. Yeah, you can be dealt a crappy hand. I was dealt a crappy hand. I was dealt a dad who beat up my mom. I was dealt a mom who worked multiple jobs for me to go to a basketball camp. My dad didn't want me to go to a camp. And I finally made it. But you know what? I played my hand to the best of my ability, and I'm still playing it today. And I refuse to be a victim. I want all of you to have a vision. You know, you might joke around and say, oh, that kid's nerdy, whatever. But maybe if you all want to be a millionaire, maybe you should all start taking school a little bit more seriously. Because in the end game, those are the people who are doing things that you dreamed of doing, that you could achieve, if you actually just take what's right in front of your face today seriously.